we have all been part of it. So what I will do, if you can I will share the screen with you, and then we will start our talk together. Okay. So actually what I'm going to talk about is something that the project that took place between 2010 and 2019, and we are actually working on restarting it again. So before we start anything, actually I would like to start by giving thanks and recognition to a colleague of mine, is Paul Harris Fellow, Mr. Saeed Abdulkhalek. He is an associate member of Rotary El Tahrir, and he has always been with us in this journey since we started. And actually, if you see his photo here, is in the office with our Rotary emblem and everything. And actually, he passed away last year, like these days, due to COVID. So I cannot have a presentation about this project without recognizing him and giving thanks to him and to his memory. So let me start, and what we will be talking about and highlighting in the coming parts is the background of the project and the main project description, the integrated activities that took place there, and our partners in service, as well as how we are making the project sustainable. Because even now that the project is not 100% in the Rotary hands, it's still going on. And how were we able to get the project funding? And we are going to share at the end some videos, actually two main videos that we are going to have, and all the videos are there on YouTube that are there. Okay, before we begin, I'd like to remind all of us with our vision in Rotary that together we actually see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. And I would like to put under lasting change more than one line, not only across the globe, but in our communities and in ourselves. And this is actually what this project did. It made a huge difference. And within our communities, within ourselves, it changed a lot. And we had everybody actually involved with us through the global grants that we had. So if you look at the background of the project, actually taking into consideration my profession and part of the in education, I could see the access, I could see the problem that we have with the teachers. So we have in Egypt, the economic status of the country is actually gravely affected with the education status, because we saw, and I'm talking about the beginnings of the project and the case study, and this I'm talking about in 2008 to 2007, where we started thinking about the project. So according to the recent reports then, in the specific governorate of Beni Suef in Upper Egypt, there was an alarming figure of 40% illiteracy within the schools, not only within the governorate. And this is very, very alarming that you have illiteracy within the school itself. So definitely we thought of, we need to do something. So one of the things that we thought of that would make a huge difference is training, making sure that looking at the teachers and the performance of the teachers. So this would actually make a difference within the classroom. So the classroom needed to be more active. So what we thought of, we need, if we want to make a lasting change, then we need to build the capacity of teachers, and we need to stop the sources of illiteracy that are there. So we decided to build the capacity of the primary teachers, Arabic and math. Usually from stage 1 to 3, we have what we call, we have one teacher that gives most of the classes plus mathematics. and also the supervisors, so that the supervisors, when they go in and see that the teachers are teaching in a different manner, they would understand. So we decided to teach them on the concentrated language encounter, the CLE method that Rotary has started and is adopting. So training these teachers and supervisors, that was the first group of schools that we're starting on them. So now we afterwards make them practice this in the classroom. So first we give them the training, and afterwards we observe them in phase 2 how they are implementing this in their classroom. So in this case, once we finish the first group and the first batch of schools, we actually had a group of trainers. So with the first batch, we finished a group of a TOT. So by the second time we started doing this again, we had the people from, and the teachers and the trainers from Beni Suef themselves going back again to do phase 1 and phase 2. So actually the cycle started going on, and Rotary was working on ensuring that the governorate of Beni Suef is actually adopting the new system. And that was we started this first with a memorandum of understanding with the Rotary Club of El Tahrir for 3 years, and it escalated to be part of the district project. So not only Rotary Club of El Tahrir, but afterwards it included many clubs and it became a district project. So the expected outcome was a model pilot project for the primary schools to be replicated to the rest of the schools, not only to the governorates of Beni Suef, but also in Sohag and in different Upper Egypt governorates. 0 dropouts. One of the problems, we had dropouts from the school. I mean, we don't have the result of the school. The students are not actually having interest in the school and in the schooling, so there was dropouts. So we will have 0 dropouts in the targeted schools that we did, and this actually was the good result, and we discovered that this happened. So we had more students attending, and also we had a new generation of self-directed learners. So now that we have the new method of teaching in the classroom resulted in a new way of learning. So now the students actually are managing their learning more than the teachers are simply standing and doing the teaching. There was more active learning environment in the classroom, and then the sustainability of the CLE project was guaranteed as the governorate of Beni Suef implemented this using the pool of trained teachers and supervisors. So now that we have the local pool of trainers, they felt that there is ownership of the project. There is an ownership of this new method that they started to adopt in teaching and in learning. And actually the parents felt that there is a difference in the learning process that took place, and the students and the kids started to be interested. So the kids now started to be interested to go back into the class. So now if you look at the activities, when I say integrated, when we go into the schools, we do not only give the training of the teachers and then afterwards we supervise how they are observing it. No, we have more of an integration where we have the community involved. So we have medical convoys to the schools. We have awareness sessions where we go and we give the kids and rotor actors and interact. We go in and we give them awareness training, health awareness training, or even we give them ethics training, because we have the 4-way test on stickers and it is all around in the classrooms, and we give it to them. And we have it also on stickers on the door of the classroom outside. So they feel that this is part, and this is how they need to live. So we are actually embedding the concept of the four-way test within the students. And also we bring in the support of winter clothes and shoes. And so we look at the needs of the students and we start supporting them. So there is a kind of a full adoption of the schools. So it's not only of a Tahrir, but we spread it also to go to more than 35 clubs involved into this project. And also we started supporting the school renovations. So some of the students of the clubs, they thought that they do not want only to support with winter clothes. No, there were some problems with the toilets and the sewage system within the toilets. And also there was what we call a committee, and this steering committee was responsible to make sure that the challenges and the problems that the schools within the project, when they are facing something. So there was a major problem with the sewage system, that they had to drain out all the sewage. So they used to take money from the schools. So we decided with the authorities not to take money from these schools, and we were able to liaise with them to do this. So we were also trying to help in this, and this is where the steering committee, because it was from the government, from the Ministry of it, from the local Rotary Club, because there is a local Rotary Club in Beni Suef, and from the different Rotary clubs and the professional academy for teachers person in the governorate. So all the stakeholders were in this steering committee. They all felt that it is their responsibility, and they felt the ownership. So they were working on solving all the challenges and the problems. And we also used to have food packages, dry food packages, and also used to organize activities for the students. And these activities were not only provided by the Rotarians, but actually the activities were provided through the Rotary actors and the interact clubs. So we involved the family of Rotary within this whole project. We planted the trees in the schoolyards, and also the trees were provided, and the fundraising for them were done with, when I say Rotary, I always mean the Rotary actors, the interactors, and the Rotary. So it's the whole family of Rotary that is involved within the project. We also did, we created a forum for education and vocational service. So we had, every year, we used to have an education forum and a vocational forum where we used to discuss the latest. And we used to have the Ministry of Education with us, and all those who are involved, whether the USAID or the NGOs, all those who are part of the education system were there. And also we created another mini activity like the RILA, but it is called the career weekends for the students. So these career weekends, we take the students that can be part of those to, let's say, one of the things that might be clear in the video, we took them so that to see how the service takes place in hotels. So we worked on the hospitality industry where they stayed for a long weekend at the other side of that. So they learn how to do housekeeping, how to do service. So they lived the part, and the year after, they were the ones doing the check-in for us. They were the ones who were cooking and preparing. So we actually did this career weekend where they was level 1 and then level 2. So there is always this part of the concept of sustainability and the ownership, which makes a huge difference with them, and also with the interactors who felt that, yes, we are in an international school, or we are, and they are adopting the schools in Upper Egypt. So now those who used to be interactors are now rotor actors. Remember, this is a project that has been going on through 10 years. So there are those who graduated from university now, who started the project when they were at school. So it's quite interesting that there is this belongingness and this sustainability that they actually want to come back and continue. A couple of years ago, we started also something called Our Beautiful Language, or My Beautiful Language. This initiative is we teach the concept of story writing, and this with those who know how to read and write at the second part of the higher end, let's say the middle school and the grade 5 and 6, where they know how to read and write, and 7 and 8, when they can put short stories together. And we taught them the principles of writing short stories instead of calling it composition. So it is a short story. And we went into the many schools, not only in the governorate of Beni Suef, but in Beni Suef and Sohag and Asyut and the Red Sea and Cairo and Giza. And what we did out of reaching the numbers of, we reached more than 600 students in this part. We actually chose 13 stories and we published them in a book, and we gave them a launch of the book where they sat down as authors and they used to sign the book. So that is one of the things that we care for, and the sustainability that those who were with us at the primary are continuing to be with us in the middle school and the high school. And this is very important. So we're trying as much as possible to stop the flow of illiterate students, because from grade 1 to 6, the students are promoted even without a test. They are just go from grade 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4. And those who were with us in this hall, we had local NGOs, the Professional Academy for Teachers, the Rotor Actors, the Interactors, the Inner Wheel. We had several volunteers. And also until now, we have, of course, the RCC that we established there. And until now, it works with the needs that are there within the governorate. So we had more than 120 schools, and we spent more than $300,000 between the years of 2010 and 2019. And the funding came from personal funds of Rotarians. And remember, we had the Rotary, Rotor Act, Interact, and Inner Wheel. And I remember, I mean, the interactors themselves used to fund a school. They adopted the school and used to pay the funding for them. And corporates, because we had the full presentation and all this, so the corporates, the CSR of the corporates chipped in with the clubs. And in one of the conventions, in the Rotary conventions, we had a presentation, and we were able to also have a global grant. So a global grant also funded some of the schools. They funded 30 schools, one of the global grants. And as I said, the interactors also had their activities. So the funding has always been, we used to think of all the innovative ways of funding in this part. So as I said, the sustainability mainly had the advisory council or the steering committee, the pool of TOT that is always there, and a communication plan that is with the pool of TOT that is very important, that they communicate with each other. So if they need trainers in another governorate, or every time they need trainers, they continue. And actually the protocol with the governorate of Beni Suef ended the last year. And with the COVID, we could not continue this because actually there was no school. Most of them were from home and all this. So we are thinking now of restarting again the continuation of the schooling so that we can start working again on looking at how they want to activate it again. Actually, we had our one of our meetings with the presidents. We usually every month we have all district presidents meeting, and when we had it in Beni Suef last month, the trainers they were communicating with me, and they are actually looking forward that we can restart and redo the protocols again and the MOUs again. So one of the things that we will be watching, I will play 2 videos. Actually, we have 4 that we can look at pending the time that we have. One, it's called Eliminating the Sources of Literacy. That's with English voice over voice. And it will show how the concept of it, how it is all about. And then we will have a look at one which is recent as well, so that we will see how the students and how the interactors and the whole thing. It has partly the Arabic part, but I will be saying just explaining what it is all about. But the video will be saying it all. You will be able to see it. So let me play the video. And let's see, I will just make the sharing again of the, because something happened, so I will share it again. I think I will need to share the video. Is the voice okay? Is the voice fine?
Because you know, some of them made it to grade 6 without even knowing how to read and write. Honestly, it has added a lot of things here at my school. It strengthened the Arabic language classes here, and the kids started loving their school. There were weak kids. I mean, I had a failing rate in grade 2 that exceeded 40%. But in time, that percentage began to recede gradually. Our success rate went up to 70% and then to 80%. Now we're at 95%.
The difference between schools that implement CLE and those that don't, especially in terms of reading and writing, is that schools that have CLE have reached good results. It creates a love of learning and a general love for the community to which the student belongs.
It's a non-traditional method. It's a method that attracts their attention. They are doing lots of small things together. They play together, they sing together. They have a newfound willingness to come to school. They have a desire to learn, which was cultivated within them. The success is attributed to CLE because the most important thing in learning is that the child loves his school and loves his teacher. Through CLE, we've reached a point with the students that they are the ones who prepare the lessons. They are the ones who start, and they create an acting team. As for the average student, he became more involved in that he is more accepting of the program. The exercise segment used to be very tedious for the students. Now they are excited to get to it. They're the ones who ask when we'll get to the application step. They are playing more now. There is more intelligence. There is more creativity. Now we are influencing their character. There is now more acceptance of the opinion and the other opinions. What I love about CLE is that it allows the stronger student to help and support the weaker student. I discovered from my daughter that in CLE classes they sit face to face instead of in a row. This not only creates a dialogue among them, but it also enhances communication. Yes, of course, CLE decreases dropout from school. how some of them made it to grade 6 without even knowing how to read and write. With the grace of God, we were able to eradicate illiteracy.
Okay, so actually this is the part of this is one of the early ones. So one of the things that we will do now is I want to share with you a recent one as well. There is a recent one that we will see. So this is one of the old projects that once we started, we had it. Here is another one.
سيدي لجنة المنطقة للتعليم الأساسي ومحو الأمية.
So here, can you hear when I comment? Can you hear me?
89 مدرسة في منطقة الوسط.
Okay, we were just talking about the 89 schools that we were doing during that time, and that was in 3 years ago, the beginning.
كل نوادي الروتري في مصر تقريبا كل سنه على
This is from another club that she is talking about how they are also supporting and the literacy classes. Sana Shurafa is another Rotary club and talking about the importance of literacy for the parents, not only for the kids.
تم توقيع بروتوكول مع نادي روتري كان احد بنود هذا البروتوكول.
This is with the governor of Venezuela and signing not only but also water projects, not only the projects for the education.
89 مدرسه باداره الوسط التعليميه.
الطريقه بتاع روتري اللي هو المواجهه المكثفه للتعلم.
This is the principal of one of the schools in Beni Khdeir.
الشغل الصغير ده كله
and he's showing now the school and the kids. This is the governor of Venezuela and one of the medical convoys. So he's talking that there's a medical convoy with all different activities that has to do with eyes and bone and general pediatric needs. So here this is I am commenting on the medical convoy, and also Dr. Dalia Lotfi is also with one of the clubs, and she is talking more about the medication that is provided for the students as well, and how the pharmaceuticals are supporting the medical convoys. Mona Fathi is a past president, and she also is confirming the TOT.
بنروح المدارس لازم وبنتابع المشروع اللي احنا بادئينه تدريب المدرسين والمعلمين انهم يعلموا الاطفال بطريقه سليمه، واهم حاجه ان شاء الله ضروري هناخد الاطفال نوديهم القاهره جنينه الحيوانات ونهتم برحلات.
Here she is talking about the activities for the children that they took them actually to the zoo afterwards. Some of the students, they took them to the zoo and
كلنا استفدنا منه استفادة كبيرة جدا، وإن شاء الله بإذن الله لما نوصل.
This is the General Director of Basic Education in the Governorate of Beni Suef. If you remember her, she was in the first video as well, and she is talking more about the importance of the training and that they will continue working on it.
بتاع بني سويف ده بنطور مدارس وبنعمل برنامج محو أمية، دربنا مدرسين، خلصنا تقريبا الدورة بقالنا كذا يوم 5 أيام، وتخرج يمكن أكثر من 120 متدرب. علمونا حاجات نطبقها للعيال.
She is one of the teachers, and we give them incentives at the end of the training and also every month, so that once they are starting the training and all the activities that they need to spend on. And this is also in the middle of the fields where the schools are, and we will see that the interactors will be talking afterwards. This is our Farida Al-Ahwal. She is the one responsible for the Interact school.
MES التحرير لونا مع بعض الولاد اندمجوا الكبار اللي جايين معانا من اعدادي ومن
This is the project that they did. They wrote something nice, and all the kids, the interactors and the school students, they worked together.
على قمة العالم كله.
This is the president Ismail, who was the president of the Interact Club then. Now he is in second university.
من 3 سنين كنا عندنا في الانتراكت ابتدينا مشروع كبير جدا اللي هو مكتبه.
They started they saying that 3 years ago, before that day, they started collecting books and they gave it to the library of the school on that day. Bassem was an interactor, and on that year he was 30 years old and also the president of our club.
احنا شايفين دي حاجه مهمه جدا للاطفال من صغرهم.
And he's talking about how the planting trees is very important, and we planted more than 30 schools on that during that year. So actually, this is also one of the things that we were the activities that we had, and maybe I think the last one. There is also another one that will be interesting, where we had the vocational part in it with the kids as well, and. I hope that this is the one. No, that's the same one. Let me see which one is the.
Nevine, there would be also question and answer. I'm sure Royston and Diego would have questions for you.
Yeah, excuse me?
I said, I'm sure Royston and Diego would have questions for you. So
yes, yeah. So this is, I think this is how this gives you an idea about what we are doing and what are the things that take place. So this can be just a little bit of what can take place. So I'm ready for all the questions or whatever needs to be done. And maybe at the end we can have this little, we have another 3 minutes video if you want. And then we can have the questions. Is that time?
Yes, perfectly okay. No problem.
Okay. This is the part of the vocational part and the education forms and all this. So it's just 3 minutes so that we can see how it all looked like. Where you can see the kids working on their so the type of forums that are there and the type of ministers and the education, how it goes there. So this is how we were actually integrating the vocational service and the basic education together. And here is the interactive talking and presenting about the activities and the project themselves. And this is one of the graduations of the teachers that we used to have. This is the part of the career weekend. And this is the part of our beautiful language. I just want to stop the okay. So as you see, we integrate the education and the vocation, and we make sure that once we have the literacy done, there is a vocation that is actually embedded within it. And sustainability is key for whatever we are doing. So this is in brief what we have so far.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nevine Abdulkhalek, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm sure people have questions. So I see Royston has questions. Go ahead, Royston.
Well, firstly, fabulous achievement. I mean, what you've done is quite extraordinary.
I can hardly hear you, Royston.
Can you hear me better now? Is that better?
Yes, that's much better. Yeah.
Fabulous achievement, and I can imagine all the dark nights of the soul with all the pitfalls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Humor is often
that for once.
Humor is often the best lubricant. I've been very much involved in Rotary for a while, and particularly establishing Interact and Rotaract clubs in Geneva in Switzerland, where I'm based, and they are extraordinary as a power for good and connection. I have a few questions, if I might share.
Yes,
sharing. We established schools in India for the Dalit community, and we've established schools in various places. It's not an easy process. You've got the mindsets of the teachers, you've got the mindsets of the parents, and you've got mindsets of the politicians involved. Not easy areas. We discovered that for the kids, you know, this natural curiosity and genius is quite extraordinary. You just need to let it happen. And we found that there was one of the big barriers was fear. Fear in the children, fear in the teachers, fear in the parents. And what we discovered is by putting them together in groups of 3, where you have the role of storyteller, listener, and observer, you dissipate about 80% of the fear. And that applies to the children, the teachers, and the parents. Yes. So once you get rid of fear, you open up this pathway for learning through joy. And we found then the children in the class, if you keep them in groups of 3, they become an action learning set, and also which is digesting the abstract aspect of knowledge, and then a critical action team applying it. And then they also start to be mentors for the younger children, and you find that they are an incredible force for good. And we've just done a program with women leaders, of high potential women leaders, where we've got groups of mentors in Canada linking with high potential women leaders around the world, again in groups of 3, and we found that the results were extraordinary. And I think it's this process of taking this very difficult place of literacy and moving through all the barriers, and then looking at it as a lifelong learning model. So these children go back into universities or further education, and they bring the skills back into the school, and it becomes a virtuous, self-sustaining circle. And I noticed that you're planting trees. So we've just been in dialogue with planting a particular type of tree, which is a Polonius tree, and the tree actually finds the water. So it actually links in with aquifers, and it's used for changing deserts into green spaces again. So this whole area of linking health, education, and enterprise together, I think is very interesting. We find that's the only real solution. And you celebrate diversity. And I noticed that women are the power behind all this.
Yes.
Because women are the incredible, And
I
recently
think,
well, it's absolutely true. And I recently discovered the power of grandmothers. Grandmothers behind the scenes.
I'm proud to say that our district is, we have the highest in our zone, and we are 45% women in our district.
Well, in the Rotary Club of Geneva, which was a new club, it had more women than men.
Oh, wow.
So I had trouble waiting my turn to have a go. But look at the grandmothers. If you get the grandmothers on board, they're formidable. Yeah. Around the world.
You know, one of the key things when we are talking about Upper Egypt and Beni Suef and Sohag and all these, they are very, very, very needy, at the needy level. So they are at the poverty level is very high. So when we talk about the schools of the government, so we are talking about, as you noticed in the videos, I mean, whatever I say, it will not be like seeing it in the video and seeing the photo, because they are really at the poverty level. So the only way to ensure that the project and the education will actually take place, you need first to make them feel that the basic needs are met. So we thought that once we have the economic part, so we made a cooperation with the NGO that is offering the monthly incentives to the families, or is supporting the families, that they want to ensure that the kids are in the school, so that they actually make sure that they will continue giving them the financial support. So we made sure at least that the kids are there. And then we're starting seeing how we can make them work together. So having the environment, as you said, and all this integrated together, made the community feel that no, the schooling is important. It's not only that I have kids to work to bring in an income, but it's important for them to learn, because a difference happens in their character. And the teachers who are part of the community, once they also got the training and they were developed themselves, the capacity building of the teachers made them see it from a different point of view. So we actually tackled half of the community by training the teachers and the supervisors, and also afterwards the kids themselves. So that
we found it quite interesting in India, in Bihar, in Patna, for the Dalit community, because the kids were economically active very early on. So there was a big disincentive for parents to send kids to school if they were earning money. So we actually created businesses in the school.
Yeah, that's why some of the schools, they take the day off during the weekday, the market, the day of the market. So once you have the day of the market, the kids, they take the day off. So this happens also with another type of schools that we call the one-day schools, the one classroom schools. I'm sorry. So this is one of the things that we try to tackle. And the kids, once they learn a vocation, the parents see that it is what's in it for them to send them to the school.
Sure. As I said, we found that in the Dalit community, we started making eco shopping bags. So they were using redundant materials to make shopping bags, which could be sold in Europe for €1 a time. And we had an arrangement where 80% went to the parents and 20% was kept to the schools. And you got 100% attendance.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, the economic factor is very, very, very important. And we will notice that in this case, the literacy classes and the literacy project is not only for the knowing how to read and write, but also it will be economic development in the same time. Because without knowing how to read and write, you will not be able to do all your calculations and everything.
Sure.
So it is all integrated together.
Did you find any gender differences? You know, because obviously in some parts of the world, the education of girls is more difficult than the education of boys.
Okay, I will tell you what part of how this is tackled in Egypt. And yes, it is. We try as much as possible to have in all the if we can say, in all the villages also, we have the primary school at least. But early on, and I'm proud that I was part of, the Ministry of Education thought of having what we call the one classroom schools. The one classroom schools, this is where it is very difficult to send girls outside the village. So any girl, if the school is not in the village, will not get the education. So we thought of this one classroom schools. So you can have someone who is 15 years old in grade 1. So you have the multi-level classroom set. You have the girls 1, 2, and 3, stage 1, 2, and 3, receiving their academic education, while 4, 5, and 6 are receiving the vocational education. Let's say in the morning, in the afternoon, it shifts. And this is the way where we actually tackled how girls who are not allowed to travel outside and take transportation to go their education, so we bring education to them. And the piece of land is actually owned by the villagers. So we actually have a cooperation agreement and an agreement, and this is the ministry agrees with the people in the village. So they build this one classroom school there, and they feel that it is theirs, and they are happy that the girls are getting the education. And many of the girls, once they get they finish grade 6, they go into the middle school, and some of them, the vocation that they learn, they start working on the projects. And by the way, each project, depending on where it is. So if it is in places like in Aswan, where they will be using the dates and palm trees and all this, so they teach them the vocations that has to do with this. If it is near the sea, so that they will teaching the vocation that are needed near the sea. So this is how it varies, the vocation, but the academic part is the same.
I think what you're doing is amazing. Maybe we could have an offline conversation, because we have some challenges in Afghanistan, as you're probably aware.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is one of the key. I mean, I think the concepts that are happening in Afghanistan and all this, I think if we take the part of the experience of looking at girls' education in Egypt and how we tackled it, we try to tackle it as much as possible. So we go to them instead of asking them to come to us. I think this is how it works. At least they will learn how to read and write and do the mathematics. They will have a vocation and something that they can earn money through, and that's it. At least if we have this secured. And in the same time, when we talk about the literacy classes for adults, we do the same thing. We reach the parents, we reach the adults, we give like TOT for 6 or 7 ladies, and they actually open their homes for the other ladies to have the literacy classes. And with the literacy class, we teach also a vocation where they can actually make money out of it afterwards. And these are going very well in Egypt. I mean, we have we also have a specific NGO called the Rotary Literacy NGO, and this Rotary Literacy, the literacy NGO of Rotary spends on the literacy classes every year, and we have around I don't know, we actually did the literacy of more than 22,000 women with, and when I say literacy, it's literacy and teaching them vocation, and they got their certification that they are literate, and we are continuing more than this. And we were able to get with Vodafone a lot of, I mean, we got something like 6 or 7 million pounds to be able also to finish and do these literacy classes. So this part again, is really going very well.
Female health is also a very good issue, because often that's neglected. So yeah, it can be very helpful. But I mean, maybe we can have another conversation, because yes.
Great. And we can have also with us the chair this year, past President Nevine Abdulkhalek. She is the chair of the Basic Education and Literacy Committee this year, because we actually continue each other. We build on what we do. We do not have a one-year plan.
Are you linked to a university at all? Because we've been looking at a number of similar challenges in Kenya, and one of the tricks is to try and link to a university that creates some sort of academic sort of overview to some of these things. Have you done that at all?
In which ways?
Well, what happens is often if you're going to share it with other people in other countries, they often want to see, what's the model, how's it worked, how have you tested it? And getting a university involved is usually quite handy in that. Mainly because it doesn't cost anything.
We can always have a university involved, but we have our own monitoring and evaluation. Actually, I don't know if you were with us at the beginning, but late Said Abdulkhalek, who was with us in the team, he was one of his responsibility. He was an expert in monitoring and evaluation. So monitoring and evaluation and putting together the report and all this was his the main thing. Because one of the things we do is we have a pre-test and a post-test for all the students that took place, and we have a pre and a post for the teachers that take the training, and we put this all together in reports. So and this is one of the things that we actually needed to do with the global grant that we had.
I'm conscious.
But we definitely can link it with one, and we can ask one of the universities to work with us if we want.
I think if you've got a university that is more action focused rather than just writing reports,
yeah,
then that would be somebody that you have empathy with rather than an ivory tower.
Yeah.
Maybe Diego has some questions. I'm sorry to hold your time. It's just very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nevine. Thank you so much. Diego, you want to ask something?
Yeah, I sure. Actually have one question. I actually very interested in this how I can say, this concentrated language encounter is a technique, is a what I could say to this. Actually, I want to know more about this.
CLE?
Yeah, the CLE.
Okay. Let me say something. Let's arrange another meeting. The CLE can have also
I'm sorry, I don't know if
the concentrated language encounter is a method that started up. I can hardly hear you, Diego.
There is some issue with the network, I think, Nevine. So CLE was started with an Australian Rotarian, Diego.
Yes.
And I, as a cadre member, have been to Bangladesh to see how successful the training was. And yeah, so that's what I can share. But either of us can share the details on CLE with you.
You need to unmute Diego.
Okay.
Okay. You know, one of the things that maybe we can say more about the CLE is that it focuses more on developing and learning the reading and writing through storytelling and singing as well. So actually, you learn how to read and write through the context, not the words on their own. So this is the main use this method, and they are ready afterwards to do the training.